Yo. Sup. I always feel comfortable until the camera's on, and then I'm like, am I comfortable? Am I though? Right, let's see if anyone joins me live. Give you a couple of minutes to jump on, as this is completely random live stream. So obs, say hello if you're live or on the replay. Can I tag this? Can I like pin this to the top now? I don't think I can. I can see someone's watching and I almost went to tap on it like, oh, who's that? And then I realised that isn't how Facebook works. You have to tell me you're here, I won't know. And fingers crossed that the comments work today, because last week when I did a call in the portal, we had some comment related shenanigans where I had to have my iPad and so yeah. I have some things to say. And where shall we begin? To me, the things that I talk about and the way in which I talk about them is completely normal. There's nothing forced, curated, like there's nothing that I say in order to placate, appease, or try and have myself understood by a certain like category of human. There is purely the words that fall out of my face and whatever feels like a truth to me in that moment. And as someone with an open head and open ajna, I very much like my perception of what is true and what is real shifts as I evolve. So I used to really hold myself back talking about certain things and claiming them as truths, because I was aware that depending on my external circumstances back in the day, depending on my external circumstances, I would moderate and readjust the truths that I believed for myself, and therefore I didn't feel I could be congruent in speaking them out loud. So, hey Sarah, nice to have you live. Ah, my little heart just went, Sarah's here. Welcome, welcome, love you. Another fire CF, stoke my fire, baby. So, what I mean by this is, I always knew that what I talk about pretty much in every fucking live stream I ever do, and this idea of like becoming the person, nurturing your frequency first, always putting your needs first, that kind of thing. I always knew that that was a truth, but it wasn't necessarily as easy for me to stay in congruence with that message, because I used to, and I'm seeing this now because of how different I am, how more deeply anchored in myself, my knowledge, my wisdom, how much more I trust innately that sense of there's more. So I'm able to really stand in the sovereignty and truth of what I speak even more now. And I remember a time where I would speak a truth. I would speak things about law of attraction or about your frequency or about putting your needs first, and it would feel like an absolute truth, and it didn't feel bold, it didn't feel audacious, it just felt like, well, this is how it is, and it just felt like, you know, like the spirit runneth through me, like, and I just felt just like, I just want to say these things because they feel like a truth in me, and they just feel delicious to speak into the world. And then something would occur in my external reality, either in my finances, in a relationship, in my business, in my health. Something would potentially occur that was an external thing, and I would then allow that to feed doubt inside of myself around my truth. So hands up if this is resonating, and if you're like, oh bitch, I needed to fucking hear this, calling me on my shit, no. Hey Justine, lovely to have you here, babe town. So the more and more I allow myself to draw back from the compare and despair, the need to prove, the need to have anyone understand me, or like feel, something came up in my clearing today, which is really interesting. And I think that a lot of people resonate with this. The embarrassment came up, and I was like, what does that even mean? And I was like, whoa, interesting. Somewhere deep in my psyche, in my subconscious, that I wasn't even aware of, there's a little seed of, but what if I embarrass myself? What if it felt like this inner child thing, you know, around saying you want to do something and being so excited to try it, and then trying it and maybe not being able to do it first time. And because of that, it's like, oh, well, we knew it wasn't going to work. Or, you know, like the feedback that you received about your ability to actually just, you know, there's a difference between a little kid trying something and then having it reinforced, like, okay, cool, let's go again and see what happens, versus, I don't think this is for you. Oh, you might hurt yourself. It's a bit dangerous, or it's a bit expensive to try that again because you didn't get it the first time. All of these stories that we pick up as kids that we then carry on into our adult life, and we don't even question them. So I started to realize that, like, the solidity of my truth now and the unshakability of it. And I feel like there have been instances recently where I've been able to hold myself and lead and guide myself through things emotionally, financially, in my business, like, even as I was saying, like, even like with body stuff, like there have been things that have happened in my external circumstances recently that I've looked at and gone, should I, like, I'm not like, I'm not afraid, I'm not bothered. Should I be? It's like this, hang on a minute, but this situation equals this emotion, so why aren't I feeling that emotion? Am I disconnected? Am I spiritually bypassing myself? Am I like denying my feelings? And every time this has happened to me recently, I've just come back to like, no, I'm just so certain, and it feels so good to like drink it in, drink it. There's more than enough for all of us. Like this level of absolute trust and surrender, that the more I stand in my truth of what I know is possible for me, well, the quicker it comes, obviously, but also like the more joyful the journey gets to be. Because I think sometimes one of the reasons why we want to leapfrog to the end and we want to go, right, I want a quantum leap and I want to be there and I want to hit this income goal and I want my body to look like this and I want my relationships to be here and my business to be here, and then I'll be fine. Then I'll know I'm safe. Then I'll know I can trust that everything I believe is a truth because I will have physical evidence. But when you're playing in what Melanie Ann Leah calls, you know, potentiality, when you're playing in the field of potentiality, when you're playing in the place of tickling the veil of the infinite, and when you are playing in that place that we are all this divine frequency, and it's really just about us being available to tune into everything that's available to us every day. And the longer we can stay in that frequency and in the receptivity of that, the quicker things happen and the more fun it is. And every time you feel doubt or every time you feel fear, reminding yourself that it's okay to feel doubt and fear, and that those emotions don't actually mean that you're not worthy, deserving, or like this far away from receiving the thing you want. I was laying in bed last night, and I don't even know why this popped into my brain, but as I was falling asleep, I was like remembering when I first started on my money mindset journey. I remembered and like looking at how the energetics and the frequency of money works for me, and you know, for anyone who's into this work. And I remember reading this story about, you probably heard this, but it bears repeating because it's such a simple but beautiful one, of the man who's like digging for gold, and he's digging for gold and digging for gold, and that goal can be whatever you want. It can be money, it can be clients, it can be, again, a fitness or a health goal, it can be a relationship or a resolution to something that you think is a problem that you're currently experiencing as a problem. It could be like the solution, and you just keep digging, and you're like, I know that if I keep digging, I'm going to hit the gold. If I just keep going, I'm going to hit the gold. And then eventually you just down your tools and you go, I'm done. I'm not going to bother doing this anymore. And the story is that, the man that was digging for the gold gave up, and then a big mining company comes in, and he was just like a foot away, if he just dug a little bit longer, if he just held faith, if he just stayed true and stayed in alignment with, I know that there is gold. Oh, it's 11:11 here. Yay, make a wish. Check your thoughts. Are you in abundance or lack right now? Write it in the comments. I'm in abundance. Wah, 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 wah. Come and play. But there's this, we're so quick to down tools and be like, well, this isn't working. This isn't working, because we're looking at the fact that we're still in this tunnel, and we're looking just at more soil, and we're like, this is never going to fucking happen. And we let that voice win. And then we become the self-fulfilling prophecy that actually every time I try, I keep trying and it never works out for me. Every time I try something, I just get so exhausted from trying and it doesn't work out. And this isn't about doing more, like digging more. This is about holding faith that what you see for yourself is possible. And not just possible, ooh, I get goosebumps. What you see for yourself is not only possible, it is inevitable. Do you feel the difference? If you fully knew, trusted, and believed that everything that you desire and see for yourself is not just like, this could happen, but like, it's inevitable. How would you show up for yourself, for your business today? How would you, that's it. That's all there is. It's like, how would you show up for yourself if you decided to cultivate more faith and more trust versus more fear and more doubt? Hi, Zoe! I was thinking about you this morning. Sending you some love. Hey, Hannah B. Oh, hello. Ooh, fucking badasses are here today. Ho, ho. Right, what you see for yourself is inevitable. And this is not just like something that you just decide once. You don't just decide this now. You don't just go, what I want is fucking inevitable. You don't, it's not like that. It's not just like, okay, cool, right, now I've decided that. You're going to be tested. It's not that you have to be tested to earn it, but there are going to be things that come up in life externally that you can allow to knock you off of your fucking perch, that you can allow to knock you out of your alignment and off your center. However, it really is just about choosing over and over again that what you desire and what you see for yourself is not just possible, but inevitable. So if that is true, write in the comments right now, what are you claiming for yourself? And allow it to be something that comes from your body, from the expansiveness of what lives inside of you. Don't let it just be something nebulous and unembodied. Let it be something that, it's like, it could literally happen now, but you just need to remember to like get yourself out of the way, get yourself back into your own alignment, and keep nurturing this frequency of everything that I desire, everything I want, everything that I've been asking for is not just coming, it is not just possible, but it is inevitable. And this is the field that I've been playing with recently, and it's really fun. I have spent more time with friends. I've reconnected with old friends. I have spent a lot less time online. Those of you who follow me on Insta stories will have seen that last week, I think it was about a week ago, I decided to commit to 30 days of creating before I consume, and also like limiting my Netflix time and expanding the time in between when I'm watching Netflix and expanding the time where I am in my own creative flow. The energy of the people on this live stream right now, it feels really, really beautiful. I'm really enjoying this. So thank you for being here. It feels very yummy. I feel like we're in this beautiful like little coven cauldron vibe. And of course, I always create offerings from the space into which I am expanding, because in my embodied teaching, I naturally imbue, I radiate out the frequencies and the codes. It's making its way in, and I don't want to, excuse me, I'm burping. I don't want to start using the word codes, but it's so in my vernacular. I'm like, damn it, I think I'm going to have to start saying desire codes. Because it does kind of feel like I'm receiving like binary coding, and then it's unlocking pieces of me, and I'm able to access new levels of like self-love and radiance and just owning my desires, and it feels so fucking good. And I'm like, damn it, am I going to have to start using the word codes? I can still do it in a silly accent. Whenever you read codes from me, you can either read it very seriously or you can read it like this. Codes. And know that I am very tongue-in-cheek, but the potency is still very real. So when I have been feeling into all of this recently, like we always knew it would. Exactly so. Like you were there at the conception of this, when I'm laughing at myself like, damn it, I keep saying this fucking word, like how I used to say totes my goats. And I'd say it really ironically, and now I'm like, yeah, totes. Who am I? Like 1998 or whenever that was a thing that people said. I get to be, yes. Beautiful, Hannah. Yes, you do. Absolutely. Flow, baby, flow. Hey, Dale. Nice to have you live. So, with that said, I've been really playing with how I receive people into this new offering that I'm creating, and I'm allowing myself, like you can see it on my face, I'm like, I'm allowing myself to be fully guided and give myself full permission to be in my feminine flow and creativity around it. And at the moment, I have like, I thought I had like, this is the name. And then I'm like, but there's also other threads to it. So I'm still playing with like the name fully landing. All I can really be sure about, and I want to share more, but I'm aware that like my defined throat wants to like give you all the information, and my sacral is like, not yet. It's like with like me and my sacral, like we're two separate beings. We are still playing with the energy of this offering and landing it. But what I do know is that currently, like, I can feel how fucking cool this is going to be and how much fun it's going to be. But I have this, depth of knowing and knowledge and wisdom around what I'm going to be creating. It's going to be very playful. It's going to be very based in desire, based in receiving what we want from life, flirting with the universe. It's going to be based in like really being deeply embodied in what we know is true for us and naming and claiming it. So it's very desire based, it's very juicy, it's very like feminine embodied and bringing in what we want through just like being in our own pleasure and desire, and really allowing ourselves to enjoy those frequencies in the body without like shortcutting ourselves into the masculine and going, oh fuck, I should know what this is called by now, right? Or, oh my god, I should have a start date and I should have this, and it's like, no, it takes as long as it takes. You know, the feminine orgasm doesn't just fucking like wham bam thank you man, you click your fingers and then you're like, like that isn't how it rolls, baby. We have to flirt with it. We have to ease ourselves into really bringing that knowledge through, and I'm really playing with that energy, and it's so fun, and I can't wait to share it with you. I'm feeling it's gonna start kind of mid-April, mid to late April, no exact date yet. There is going to be a level of proximity to me and my energy, which I wouldn't normally offer at the price that it currently is. However, I'm feeling that the price that I have on it right now is just feels so playful and fun, because I know that whoever because I know that whoever signs up for it at this price is getting such a fucking good deal that they're going to be like, we get what, and we get what, and what, and what. Like, I can feel just, it's so juicy. But yeah, I'm very, very excited about what this is going to unleash in people. And we are really playing with the frequencies of desire and pleasure and playfulness in receiving. Because it's so easy for us to allow ourselves to fall into the old paradigm of, I'm only allowed to really be in the enjoyment of my life if I'm making this much money, or if this is where my business is, or if this is what my body looks like, or if this is where my health is, or where my relationships are. We're always putting these caveats on when we're allowed to experience deep pleasure and desire. And something that came up for me when I was doing my tattoo, which feels that there's a piece of this woven in. By the way, if you're already interested in this and you want to get it out of fucking ridiculous, yeah, right? Like, I feel like it feels, this is like the frequency of what we're playing with in there. So it's like, it's gonna be delicious. I'm so excited for the potency and the magic. But if you're already like, oh fuck, I need to know what this juicy motherfucker is, like, tell me the things, just drop me a message and I will tell you the price point as it is right now. And that is what I have. You have this transmission, this energetic imprint of what we're going to be like playing with in there. And if you feel like that is something your body is like, ugh, this feels fucking good, I want more of this, then to me, the price at the moment is a fucking no-brainer for what we're going to be receiving in our time together. I'm so excited. Can you hear my couch squeaking? But yes, we tend to allow ourselves to let what is happening in our physical manifestation, our physical 3D reality, be the thing that defines how we're allowed to feel. And as I say time and time again, it's more about how we feel on the inside first, the person that we become through what we are experiencing, through the thoughts we are having, through the emotions we are allowing ourselves to vibrate at. So this is not your communal garden business offering. This is something so much deeper, so much more juicy, so much more pleasurable. And if you are already feeling it, drop me a message. Code's transmission, I'll take it from you, Bish. Code's transmission. That's the thing, transmission and container used to be ones that I had to say in a silly voice as well, because I couldn't quite get on board with them. But now I'm like, this container, this is a transmission. So I'll get there with codes as well. So there's one more piece I want to share, and one more place that I want to share around this. When I had my tattoo done, I became very aware of all the places where I was not fully asking for what, like I said, this tattoo is an initiation and it's the gift that keeps on giving. When I went and had it done and I looked at the design and I didn't like what he'd done, I then stood there and said, I don't like it. This is what I want, this is what I want, this needs to be in there. And then he went away and he redesigned it. And as he went away, luckily I had my journal in my bag because I just knew I was going to need it that day. I was like, I'm just going to take this with me, even though I don't know why I would possibly want my journal while I'm being tattooed. I can't write while he's tattooing my arm. Like, sorry, love, I'm just going to be over here. You can deal with my arm scribing away over here with my ink and quill, right? It's fine. So I didn't know why I took it with me necessarily, but then it became very clear, because as I sat there and I was in preparation, like getting prepared for receiving the second design of the tattoo, the actual asking for, saying like, no, this isn't what I was hoping for, this isn't what I wanted, no, go redo it. I actually felt okay having that discussion with him, but then I sat down afterwards and I noticed all of these stories around asking for what I want, being a burden, being difficult, being demanding, being a diva, all this stuff started coming up. And I was just like, wow, so much programming around what it is for a woman to stand in the embodiment of what she truly desires and just ask or say no. And this is kind of one of the codes that we'll be looking at in this program, is really, and I know the thing is, I feel like this sounds really obvious and really simple, and yet I see people saying that they've mastered this, saying that, I mean, I'm totally fine with that. And then I kind of witness them and I'm like, oh, wow, you are really not okay with asking for what you want. You're really not okay with saying no to what you don't want. And there can sometimes be this feeling of, if I ask for what I want, if I just lean back and open myself up to receiving, does that mean I have to say yes to everything that gets given to me? And it's like, no. You're not being, a fucking diva or demanding or like difficult if you say, thanks but no thanks. When you start to play, take this in, people, drink this in, absorb it. When you start to play in the realm of really, truly living into the belief that the universe wants to support you, it wants to serve you, it wants to supply you with everything that you desire, that the universe is not withholding. And maybe that word brings something up for you. Maybe you're starting to see like, oh, when I was a kid, this person withheld love or withheld this or withheld that. I was only allowed this much of that. Very often it is literally the withholding of love from a father figure. Let's be honest, It's not uncommon in my world for people to have daddy issues. But that idea that the universe is either abundant and loving and wishes to like be juicy and supportive and supply everything that we desire, versus the universe being withholding and cold and needing us to prove ourselves, or like constantly be like, like at the end of a thread going, fuck, I haven't got enough money, or fuck, I haven't got enough food, or fuck, I feel like shit, I haven't got enough self-love. When we give ourselves permission to love ourselves unashamedly, unapologetically, fully, and be the embodiment of that, and let that fucking radiate out into the world without anyone else's need, without anyone else validating it or recognizing us or seeing us, when we start to do it because it just feels so fucking good to love ourselves, regardless of the number on your bank statement, whether you have a partner or not, what, like all of these fucking things that we have on our list of, this is when I can be happy. This is what proves that I'm a success. This is what proves that that I've done okay for myself and that people don't have to worry, or that I don't have to worry, or that I'm safe. Like all of these things that keep us stuck chasing our tails and doubting ourselves and being afraid. They're not required when you remember that the universe is an abundant, benevolent force. It wants to support you. You are co-creating with the universe. You are co-creating. I'm going to say it one more fucking time because I want you to really feel this as a truth anchored into your body. You and the universe right now in this moment, always and forever, are co-creating your reality. So stop resisting abundance and love and all of the magical shit that you want in your life. And I'll finish on this. Last night as I was laying on my couch, bizarre. My boyfriend was snoring so much last night, and I'm due for my period, so I'm a really light sleeper. And I was like, I need to go and sleep on the couch, and I love you. And he was like, oh no, I was like, no, you stay in bed. I'm good. I'm awake. I'm gonna go. I just needed to be in my own room and sleep in my own energy last night. So I came downstairs. We got a sofa bed. prop myself up. And as I was laying on the couch, falling asleep, I did like a body scan, which is not unusual. I do those quite a lot if I can't sleep, particularly around my period. Just before I start my bleed, like my body will show me the things and the layers that need to shed as I bleed. So it's quite normal for me to either feel a little bit anxious or get a little bit panicky at night, like as I'm sleeping, or if I awake in the night. It's not unusual for 2 or 3 days for me to have things come up that need to be released. And that's what happened last night. So it's almost just like a ritual at this point. So I'm like, bring it on. So as I was laying down and I was like, oh, okay, cool. There's that freeze mode that I'm oh so familiar with. Let's just breathe into it and what is here. And it was so simple. Excuse me. Any of you who are familiar with Abraham Hicks will know. They talk about, excuse me, holding the cork under the water. Are you familiar with this? Tell me in the comments, are you familiar with the analogy of it from Abraham of holding the cork under the water? I'm going to explain it, but I'm interested to know who already is aware of this. I'll wait. Yeah. Great. So it's similar to the analogy I used in my last podcast around, you know, like pushing against a wall, and like just the fact that you're pushing against this imaginary thing and this problem is actually what is the problem. And if you just stop, the wall just kind of falls down. You're like, oh, that was never a problem. So I will explain. So the cork under the water is, rather than being, beer, she's like, yeah, I've been in your world for long enough to know what the fuck this is all about. And like all my clients, I'm like, and listen to Abraham every day. Pay me, but listen to Abraham on YouTube, and that's my coaching style. Not really. I do loads of cool shit with you when you work with me. Love you. But it's such a great resource that I often point people to, because I've listened to so much of it over like the last like 5 or 6 years. I've listened to so much Abraham and I love it, because they just give such simple analogies and like visuals that really help me to like, yeah, I get it now. And the cork, holding the cork under the water, is like, it's basically contraction versus expansion, right? So we all know that when we are feeling into abundance and when we are in that yes, like, yes, the universe is abundant. Yes, I want to receive. Yes, I'm in my desire. Life is so amazing. Juice, squirt. What is happening to me? I am here for it. Let's go. It's going to be a lot of this shit in this program. Let me tell you. Trust. There will be a lot of this shit. A lot of me talking about squirt. If you're offended, please leave now. The end. You're welcome. Love you, bye. Cork under the water is like this idea that you can either be in an abundance mindset. You can either be in like yes, or you can be in no. No. I'm going to have to look at the problem and I need to fix it. So if you imagine like you got things that are happening in your life and they're I love all the squirt emojis. You are my peeps. I love you guys. Oh, hello. So it's like you're floating on, floating along in your little river of life, baby. And then things come along, external things come along as little corks, and they're just bobbing on the water. So it's similar to the thought of like meditation. It's like another one and another one, and another's going to keep coming now. People who join this live stream now are going to see all these squirt emojis and be like, what have I just tuned into? And they'd be right to think that, let's be honest. Hey Helena, nice to have you here. Hey hot stuff. Oh, squirt gun. I was like, why are you shooting yourself? Oh, it's a squirt gun. Super soaker. That's my stripper name. Zoe, stop it. You're encouraging me. I need to stay on track. Stop distracting me with all this saucy behaviour. I can't cope. Tassels. Poor Helena, she's like, what the fuck is happening? Welcome. We're just having a little saucy extravaganza in here. Feel free to contribute to the squirt emojis should you wish. Get in on the sacral vibes. Squirt. So, focus, Georgina. Come on. I knew this was going to be a good one. Anyway, so coming back to the cork in the water. So you're floating along, blah, 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 in the river, floating along in the river of life. New song. Available on iTunes. And then all these little corks are bobbing around, and they're little things. So like, partner comes home, he's in a bad mood. You know, or like, dog is barking at postman whilst I'm on live stream. Something like that. And so for example, let's use, I'm going to get some merch with Super Soaker on it now, just for you, Zoe. I hope you realise that. I'm in the process of creating merch, just FYI, because I am Leo Moon, Leo Rising as fuck. Yeah, of course people are going to want to wear my sayings and catchphrases and general nastiness on themselves. Of course they will. Why wouldn't they? So you're in the river, you're floating along, you've got all these corks. Let's use partner comes home, is in a bad mood, right? So you're just like having this lovely day, and then partner comes home in a bad mood, and you go, and you grab that cork and you're like, oh my God, this is terrible. Everything was fine and now this has happened. Oh fuck, everything's shit. And you're like holding the cork under the water. You're literally like, as you're like pulling it down under the water. So like there's other corks and they're just floating by, but you are literally so fucking obsessed with this cork. How much energy, how much time, how much focus, how much contraction, how much like not noticing all the blessings that you could be receiving. Like there's corks, but there's also presents floating by. It's like a video game where you can go, oh, I'll either pick a cork and a problem to stare at, or I'll pick a gift and some abundance, thanks, right? You've chosen to hold on to a problem and you are not letting that motherfucker go until you have solved it. But the problem is, you can't actually solve it because you're so busy fucking staring at it and in contraction that you're missing the opportunity for a solution because you're not in your flow state. So even doing this, like my body is just like, I hate it, let go. So you're holding this cork under the water. And then if you just let it go, you just come back to the surface and you just start floating again. Do you see how simple it is? We hold on to things because we have been taught that if we are not worried about the things that everyone else is worried about, if we are not worried, and this is what goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, if we are not worried or emotional or experiencing the same level of emotion as somebody else about something, often something that's happening in their life, and we kind of feel like, oh, I should be as upset as you are to show empathy and that I am a human and not actually just a robot in a human skin. But maybe you actually don't have to get to the heightened level of emotion of other people. Maybe you don't have to, you know, quote unquote, care or give a shit about the same stuff that other people do. Maybe that isn't, maybe it doesn't resonate with you and there's a reason for that. And when you just stay in your own alignment and stay in your own lane and just keep floating along on your own river of life, magical things start to happen for you. And often what will happen is because magical things are happening to you and you start to speak about them, start to live them, you start to experience like the glow ups. Like people always notice when I'm going through an up level, they're like, wow, you look different. Or wow, you look amazing. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. Like totes just loving my life and living in my own juice. Wah, wah. And people notice that shit. And for some people, it's an inspiration and like, oh, I want some of that. So the people who jump into my inbox like, I want some of that, and then come and join me on this journey that we're going to go on in April, like fucking awesome. There'll be other people who it will activate in a different way. And they'll be like, oh, well, it's all right for her because blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, it's all right for her because who does she think she is? And we have to be able to, we don't have to be able to, but it really fucking helps if you're so grounded in certainty in your own sovereignty and the desires that live in your heart and the belief and knowing that everything that you desire is actually for the greater good of everyone. Not just for you, but for everyone, for the fucking planet. Even if you just desire an ice cream, you going, having that ice cream and being in that moment of desire and eating that delicious ice cream and being like, you are then embodying a frequency of desire fulfilled, of pleasure, of nourishment, of fulfillment. And that radiates out. Isn't that better than continuing to perpetuate the frequency of lack and scarcity in the world? Isn't it? And we want our external circumstances to reflect our desires now, like yesterday, so that we can believe them. But there is always a moment before the thing actually happens. There is always a moment before the thing happens. And then there's a moment after the thing happened. And there's the moment where the thing is happening. So before you had something, before I had red lipstick on, there was a moment where I didn't have red lipstick on. You know, before this scarf arrived, but when I ordered it online, there was a moment before it landed on my doorstep. And then there was a moment after it landed on my doorstep. And it's up to me how I decide to feel in all of those moments. The more you can cultivate the receiving, more you can cultivate the frequency of the things already happened or it's about to happen, or like being on the other side of it, and like, as I say, like being at the party rather than waiting at the queue to get there and like getting frustrated and looking at why am I not at the door yet. Get into the energy of, I'm already at the fucking party. I've already received the thing. And that doesn't mean that you suddenly go out and go, oh, well, yeah, I'm a millionaire, so I can just spunk a load of cash on stuff. It's like that version of you who already has the thing that you want. How are they feeling? What kind of stories do they no longer have space for in their head? What beliefs and ideas about themselves as a human just no longer serve them or wouldn't even register? Like, I often talk about my weight loss journey and my like falling back in love with my body, like in whatever shape and, you know, form it is taking in at any given time. And I talk about this because it was such a big part of my journey, going from saying things to myself like, you're a fat fuck, you're lazy, you're fucking ugly, right? At some point I had to realize that I couldn't take those stories with me into having the body shape that I wanted, having the level of health and fitness and vitality and vibrancy and like pleasure in my body, and really seeing what my body is capable. My body is capable of fucking amazing shit now that I believe in it, and now that I support it and cultivate and give it what it needs in order to continually be even more fucking incredible. There was a time where I had those thoughts and beliefs on the regs. They were very counterintuitive to the person that I wanted to become. So I had to decondition and deprogram and do clearing around that stuff so that I could fully embody someone who loves themselves. And yeah, there's a crossover part there where it doesn't feel so easy and natural to do that. But then that's why you get mentors and coaches, and that's why you do energy work and journaling and mindset work. And, you know, we're not the kind of people who just fucking give up on our dreams, our goals, our desires. It's just not who we are. It's not what we're made of. We're made of stronger stuff. And that is why we've all been brought together. So, if this live stream has lit a fucking fire under your ass, get into my inbox, because trust me, the price point for what is actually going to be on offer and being in this frequency for, I'm not even going to tell you how long, but holy fucking balls, it's going to be insane. And I'm so excited because I'm literally allowing this energy of this offering to build, and I will drop more nuggets as and when it feels aligned for me. So effectively we're kind of in like pre-launch pricing right now. And then as more information comes in and as it starts to solidify, the price will likely go up and up and up. So right now, this is the least investment. This is the smallest investment that it is going to be right now. And I do not know when the price will go up. This, like, I am excited by this offering because it is like, it's like teasing me. And I'm like, ooh, I'm titillated. It's like teasing me with its energy. And I'm like, that's really fun. I can either get into the energy of like, I can't do anything, I need to wait, I've got to wait, or I can just start putting it out into the world and take this delicious, tantalizing energy and tantalize you and allow you to be in that frequency of like, what am I really saying yes to? Oh my God, I don't even know what this is, but I just fucking know I want in, and I'm so excited to say yes to something and like live in the mystery. You know, are you someone who genuinely is willing to allow yourself to say yes when you don't have details, but you just know there is something here for you? Are you willing to say yes and cultivate in that moment of saying yes a level of trust in yourself that you've maybe never given yourself permission to have before? because that's what this really is. And I'm so excited. So, as I say, I'm still not 100% on the name. I know we're going to start mid to late April. I have an idea of like the structure of it, but as I say, like I'm allowing more pieces to drop in over time. I don't even have any branding. I don't have an image for it yet. I just have the frequency and the energy. Maybe that's all I will ever have, and we will literally start this thing on a date, and it will just be however long it is, and it will just, you know, maybe I will never receive an image or official branding. Maybe this is just what it gets to be. And I get to be okay with playing also in that field of potentiality. I am playing in the mystery with this thing, and I'm inviting you to come on a journey with me, because you know that once you've said yes to working with me, shit starts happening straight away. We see this time and time again. You guys know when you've invested in me, this always happens. So that's all I feel to say today. I feel like I'm going to have a little dance party in my living room now. Honestly, I am so fucking excited by life and business and everything in general right now. So I'm excited for those of you who feel to say yes. And I'm equally as excited for those of you who are like, I don't know what this is. I'm not ready to say yes. I don't feel to say yes, but holy fuck, I'm coming along for the ride, because at some point I think I am going to say yes. You're all fucking welcome. Let's take this magical mystery tour together. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye.